afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. As the calendar inches closer to the end of another Vermont winter, it's always inspiring and uplifting to think about spring gardens and flowers. So today we're going to think spring as we preview the upcoming Vermont Flower Show. It opens this Friday and it runs through Sunday at the Champlain Valley Expo in Essex Junction. Joining me are two guests who are a big part of the show. Ed Burke is with Greenworks, the Vermont Nursery and Landscape Association, which sponsors the show, and alongside Ed is Leonard Perry. Leonard coordinates the educational seminars and workshops that are part of the event. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Now, the Flower Show takes place every other year, so there won't be another show until 2019 after this year. But Ed, what's in store for folks at this year's show?
Well, first I'll tell you what is behind the scenes that people don't see, which is hundreds of volunteers that start planning 18 months in advance. That's one of the reasons we do it every other year.
Right.
And all our sponsors who provide cash and plants and all sorts of props and things for us to use in the show. We're very grateful to all of our sponsors and volunteers. What you're going to see is a great big garden, and the theme this year is Neverland, so that we're going to bring the magic of Peter Pan to life, and there'll be sights and sounds of spring.
Terrific. Now, I know you brought something with us that's going to sort of illustrate that. And what were some of the ideas that you and your fellow planners have come up with?
Okay, well, let me show you our map. So this is this year's map of Neverland. We start by entering here through the windows. In the Peter Pan story, they go through the window and over the rooftops of London. So we're going to have a rooftop entry, and that is to make you feel like you're flying. And then you'll go through the nightscape, which is going to be basically a moon garden. So this will be all white flowers and the feeling of nighttime. And that will then bring us over to Wendy's house. And the Technology Center at Essex is building this little playhouse, which will be raffled off. And that's sort of an asymmetrical, kind of cute little playhouse.
Tell me just a little bit about the plants that'll be surrounding these areas. I know you talked about the white moon garden, but what about Wendy's house?
Probably there are certain types of plants that will bloom that you can force into bloom for this event. And a lot of them will be springtime bulbs like hyacinths, and tulips, and daffodils. We'll also have spring flowering shrubs like serviceberry and crab apples, and you'll see those sprinkled throughout here. This will be more like a home garden here. So there may be vegetables in here. There may be green roofs down here. So we're going to introduce the horticultural aspect throughout. So past Wendy's house, you'll come to Mermaid Lagoon and Marooner's Rock, and this is very interesting. We have a very ambitious builder who's going to create waterfalls here and down to a lagoon, and who knows, maybe there'll be a mermaid in the lagoon. And then you can walk behind through like a mine shaft. Then it will come around to the Lost Boys Cave, and that is the feeling of being underground. So there'll be roots hanging from the top of the cave and things like that. And there'll be a little bridge here that you can walk over and get a view of the entire garden. You'll come through there, and then you come to the village above, which is the big centerpiece here. And that is more like a world village. So there'll be teepees and campfires and sort of a bohemian world village. Then you'll pass this interesting sculpture, which is the Neverbird. It's a bird's wing made out of stone.
Oh my goodness.
Which will be very, very fascinating. And then down here, you'll come to the Pirate's Cove, where we're going to actually have a crocodile sculpture. I won't tell you more about that, but well, I can. It's done with a chainsaw. It's going to be very, very cool. And the ship, maybe a shipwreck. So basically, then you'll exit here. So that's the basic route that you would take, and yeah, we have to build this in 4 days. So
I was just going to ask you, how much time do you have to put this all together?
Well, so we plan 18 months in advance, but it all comes down to 4 days. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we open on Friday. So all of this has to be assembled in 4 days, which is quite a feat.
It's a huge feat, and there's a lot to see.
Oh, there's a ton to see. You won't be able to actually walk through these areas, but they will all be approachable, and they'll all be like little niches here and there.
And then, of course, you've got the different views. You can be up high and look down low on things.
Yeah.
So you get different perspectives.
And one of the things we've done this year is make the path a little wider to accommodate more people. We've always had a 9-foot wide path. We're going to expand it by a foot or two so people can linger a little bit longer in places where they want to see things. There'll be all sorts of surprises through here. I don't want to give away all the details, and I don't want to give away the surprises, but there'll be leaping fountains and all sorts of things going on through there.
Oh, nice.
So, pretty exciting.
Yeah, that is. Now, Leonard, as you've done in previous years, you're organizing the seminars. Who have you lined up for the keynote speaker this year?
Okay, this year we have Claudia West, and she's actually an author in a broader book here, Planting in a Post-Wild World. Well, we've actually gotten away in a lot of our landscaping from the wild, from nature, and so her theme is how to, she's a landscape architect, how to get back to more natural, not only in looks, but functions, planting in plant communities, what plants go together well. And so I think she's a really interesting speaker and really knows her plants and design, so really a lot of fun. So I think we'll learn a lot from her.
And so what are some of the other talks
We
or
have
topics?
a couple others that people may know. Charlie Nardozzi will be back talking about small space gardening, and we have a special speaker from Tranquil Lake Nursery down in Rehoboth, Mass, Warren Leach, and he's won many awards for design. He really is a passionate plantsman, knows his plants. He runs actually Tranquil Lake Nursery. It's one of the top iris and daylily nurseries in the Northeast. So, but he's going to be talking more about sustainable landscapes and plant combinations. In addition to that, of course, we've got 24 talks overall. We're actually screening a movie Doug Tallamy helped produce about why insects and native plants are important to our landscapes, hometown habitat, so they'll be able to see a movie. I'm not sure we'll have popcorn, but anyway, we'll have the movie. And but there are many other speakers, a lot of topics, not only design and plants, but fairy gardens to trees. There's even one on cider making this year. And I'll be doing a travel one on Gardens of the Hudson Valley based on a tour we had there a few years ago, and I'll be talking about some of the tours we have upcoming, as well as have a booth there just about our garden tours. People can stop by and see what we have planned for this year.
And speaking of displays, Ed, I know that there are vendors and activities at the show. What can people see other than the amazing display garden here?
Well, of course, the garden is a big part of the show, but we have hundreds of vendors, not hundreds, over 100 vendors, and they will be horticulturally related wares and products, services, information. There's some nonprofit informational booths. The Vermont Garden Railway Society will be there with live trains. The trains will be going around. And the St. Albans Garden Club will be there with the educational displays and floral arrangements. The specialty food and spirits pavilion will be set up in the main room this year, and there'll be some demonstrations concerning, it's called Food Floral Fresh, and there'll be some demonstrations such as basket weaving, or a workshop on basket weaving, on and I think on fermentation and some other things. There'll be some new food options. The skinny pancake will be there this year, a Mediterranean mix in addition to the old favorite Al's French fries. There's lots to see every day. The children's room is going to have a mermaid telling stories on Friday. I think Professor Patty Wack is coming on Saturday, and the marionettes are coming on Sunday. So this is going to be, there'll be things going on all the time.
And you'll have the chefs back this year as well to do the demonstrations?
Yes, but it's going to be a little different. They're mixing it up this year.
Okay.
And so it's called Food Floral Fresh. And so there'll be some things like edible flower workshop, and like I said, the basket making workshop, and maybe fermentation. So very interesting new things.
And one of the things I remember too that hearing about is that this year the show has expanded, right? So you have people have been before, they know there was one room that had everything. This year,
yes,
and vendors in one and a whole separate.
Yeah,
show.
I can't believe I forgot to mention that, but we've taken up a whole nother section of the expo, and so we have where the soccer players used to be during our show. That is where our big central garden display will be, and then the vendors will fill the entire other room.
That's amazing. Definitely a lot going on. I can see why someone might want to get a 3-day pass to take it all in. Now, the flower show has a different theme each year, as we've mentioned, every other year. And Leonard, take us through some of the previous shows because, you know, great memories.
Well, I thought it'd be fun to look back on a couple of shows just to give, you know, it's just fun if people have been to relive, and also kind of see what's in store. This in 2013, The Road Not Taken, based on a poem by Robert Frost, and you can see the path through that. And then, you know, here's an entrance, beautiful, all kinds of things, you know, flowering trees, all the bulbs and shrubs, the place to get up high and look over, but beautiful entryway there. And here's another, you know, bridge where you can get up, like we're having the show this year. You can get up and get a good overview. But those flowering trees, it's amazing the work goes into forcing all these. The details, it impresses me. This little water feature here, but you know, all these, you can just sit and it's so peaceful just to sit and
just hear the water and then
hear the water,
smell the earth.
Yeah, to smell the earth and the mulch. And you know, then it's just so many things, sensual experiences there that's so relaxing. Here was Robert Frost's cabin that you could look in, see it furnished. You could see the smoke coming out the chimney. Just really a lot of great detail. It shows animals. Usually there's some animals here. There's a little scene with some espaliered fruit and some vegetables. So just a lot of different horticulture going on. And here was kind of the urban down this walk setting with these facades of the different townscapes, and here's the entry to a home, which I thought was great. A lot, again, beautiful. You know, it's something I would love to have, just solid flowers, you know, in front of that. Just, you can see azaleas, you can see pots with all kinds of, here's a close-up of the azaleas, some vegetables mixed in, it's like some cyclamen right as you go up the steps there. Here's a runner bean going up a post and a pot with some bulbs. Again, little ideas you could take home and do in your own home. A little microclimate area you can make out of a dry-laid stone at your own place, create 1 or 2 hardiness zones warmer there with some bulbs. And then you see some, just again, a whole mix of flowering shrubs, like you'll see this year, and bulbs, a little green walk through there, just really, and you see the little labels. Plants are labeled, so you can see what a lot of these are. You can really learn a lot. And then the last show, 2015, Spring Reflections, what says it better than pansies, daffodils, and forsythia, all in bloom when it's cold outside. Here's an interesting picture they had to board with some before shots, and here's a little bridge before, and then you can see after.
Wow,
with
I remember that.
Just all the water underneath with the blue pansies, and then the green on top, the water wheel in the back. Here's some of those spurting fountains, and then there's some, you see all the pink and colors with the different bulbs, the tulips and hyacinths, and then the flowering shrubs. Just fascinating. And then a little more formal effect, a curved area with, again, more tulips, water features, another water feature, a lot of water. Again, just as you mentioned, just wonderful to listen to. And then here was just a whole mix of different flowering bulbs and a little chant right there and mixed in too by the water.
Well, let's go back to this year's show, 2017. It opens Friday at the Champlain Valley Expo in Essex Junction, runs through Sunday, March 5th. And Ed, where can people get information and tickets?
greenworksvermont.org. That's greenworksvt.org. Info and tickets also at all Price Choppers and at Gardener's Supply.
Okay, and so Leonard, we know that you organize annual garden tours every year, so what's coming up this year?
Well, I've got 4 actually planned this year, and I'll have information, and as I mentioned, a booth at the show with information on all these, or you can go on my website, perrysperennials.info, and I've got them all up there. But a May Day shopping trip, northwestern Vermont, and then we have in June 3 days over to Maine, and then just the most recent we finished up is 5 days to Philadelphia area. That's going to be very special. We'll see some great places down there, and then we're going back to Canada for an overnight and actually go to Ottawa for the first time, where they have the mosaic cultures back this year. So that should be pretty special too.
Terrific. Look forward to seeing some pictures of those trips, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be in with those.
Well, I want to thank you both for joining us today. Can't wait for the flower show.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure sign of spring. That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.